How I made my SpaceX Starlink twice as fast and more reliable. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a technology day. We're going to be talking about how to make your SpaceX Starlink faster and more reliable. Now, to preface all of this video, so you don't have to watch it to the end, we are going to be using multiple services. We're going to combine them together, but the key here is we're going to be taking a look at how to extend or how to make our current system more reliable. How do we do that? And if we currently are using, for example, Starlink, and we're using T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, those 5G networks, they're okay, but the gateways live within your home. So they have to actually get that RF or get that signal, unlike Mr. Bevel, which is a dish that's sitting outside for SpaceX Starlink. They are now impeded by a wall. For me, it's an 8-inch thick concrete wall. Yours might be wood, they might be metal, but no matter how you look at it, it's going to impede the signal. So you're not going to get the fastest speeds that you can. So what I do in my setup, and I talked to you guys about this about a year ago, I think it was July of last year. What I do is I use SpaceX Starlink, but I also use T-Mobile home internet. Some people say, why don't you use Verizon home internet, or why don't you use AT&T's Internet Air, as they call it? The reason being is in my location, I can only get AT&T and I can get T-Mobile. Verizon is not available to me. Now, between T-Mobile and AT&T, I personally would go with T-Mobile. I like their service better. AT&T, I'm not a fan of anything AT&T. So that's my bias, just so you know. But you could use all three of them. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, and you could combine your SpaceX Starlink with it. For example, when I go live with the JC live show on Fridays, well, I'm actually bonding the two services together on a packet level base bond and streaming it that way, so that if Starlink goes down because there's really bad weather, a big storm comes, as we always get here in the afternoon, late at night here in South Florida, well, I'm not going to go down and we're going to be able to stream even if there's a problem with SpaceX Starlink. T-Mobile will pick up the slack. So using the T-Mobile home internet as well as SpaceX Starlink, combining them together, I'm getting extremely fast speeds and more reliable speeds. But the T-Mobile home internet always had a problem because, once again, it was trying to receive signal through an 8-inch wall, concrete wall at that. Now, by putting an antenna external to the building, I got just amazing speeds, literally twice as fast as what they were prior to installing that external antenna. Well, a year passed and I want to bring you up to speed. This company that I tested out their antenna for is called Waveform, and Waveform makes these antennas, I'm going to show them to you in just a second, that live external to your building, but they have a new antenna. So if you're an RVer or someone that is on the go and you want something small and lightweight that you don't have to put a J mount and stick it on the side of your eave, let's say, on your building, well, that's fine. Now they have one that literally suction cups to your window, or it has like a little plastic stand that you can stick it anywhere that you want internal to the building. Now, once again, you are going to go through, like for me, an 8-inch wall. That's not great. But the difference is this external antenna has a much greater gain. In other words, it's going to receive a lot more signal than the one that is an omnidirectional that is built into the actual gateway. So this is directional. It is a MIMO, but it's a 4x4. So it's, let's call it 4 antennas. You have your LTE-M, LTE-D, you have your MIMO, and you have your 5G. That is how it is set up. 4 antennas, 4 leads. So you just simply point it in the direction of your closest cell tower, the cell tower that you want to use, and you are golden. Now, before I get into all this, I want to say that before the end of this video, if you enjoy it, throw the video a thumbs up. That'd be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Consider doing so. I would truly appreciate it. And if you are subscribed, thank you. Click this little button over here, this notification button. So when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, they're free just for you being here. Go to jcristina.com/books. And if you want more Starlink specific content, I have about 290 videos, about 291, somewhere around there, just specifically for you. Check them out. Helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, how to do it, and of course the why behind it all. Check those out. And finally, if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work on this channel, there's a little thank you button. You can click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. So back into this subject. Now, I'm going to introduce you to these two antennas. Now, what is different? Okay. Number one, the original antenna that I was using was this one. Now, it is big. I know. Check it out. All right. This is what it looks like. And this is what is currently on the side of the building, of my building. And it is being plugged in to the T-Mobile router, the T-Mobile gateway. Now, currently, the one that's out there, all right, this is the brand new version, a year later. Do you see all this rubber? Everything is rubberized, all this IP67 nonsense, so it's watertight everywhere. The current connectors that are out there are metal connectors and they are exposed to the weather, so I would wrap them. The unit itself is slightly different, all right? The mount is still the same, but now the actual signal strength that you're getting with this in comparison to the one that I have currently is the same. So what that means is if you have one of these 4x4 MIMOs, this full-size one, and you already have it and it's up there and it's working, to get the newer version, you're basically only getting a little bit more water resistance, let's say. Not that the other one leaks, but the wires are a little bit nicer and where it pushes through the wall is nicer. Let me show you another piece of the puzzle. All right, this is the connector. So this is where that antenna would connect to. And then you have these connectors, these little small leads, and this is what would go into your router. So for example, T-Mobile's router now has the ability to use an external antenna. That's great. You can basically just screw these directly in to the back of the unit. Now, when I did this a year ago, if you guys remember, if you didn't, maybe I'll put a link to it over here, the video. We had to break open the gateway and then put in these little connectors and then finally screw these in. It was a lot harder process. Now it's super simple. You just simply screw everything in and you're off and running. Very, very simple. Before, we had to use these. Check these out. These are also coming from waveform. Maybe I'll do a top down on it so you can see it. You see these things? Now what these would do is they would screw into these leads, all right? And then you have this little tiny, do you see this right here? This is called a UFL connector, and you would have to connect each one of these four into the internals of the router. If you have one of the old routers, that's what you're gonna have to do. All right, it's not that big of a deal. A little bit of heat, a little bit of a screwdriver and smack it open and you're off and running. But if you have the luxury of getting one of the newer routers from T-Mobile, I would do that. Now, I'm not sure if AT&T or Verizon has come the same distance as T-Mobile and allows you to connect an external antenna without breaking it open. But either way, if you pop it open, you'll still be able to do this project. It is super simple no matter which one you have. Now, the cable that you get with it, now with the big one, you get a 20-foot cable. This is what it looks like, all right? Look at the weather resistance on that. This cable did not look like this a year ago, all right? They've really done some advancements. I swear, the actual texture of it, completely different. I really like this. This is good stuff. Now, in comparison to some of the antennas that I've used in the past where the cables are just thin and just janky, I guess, these are awesome, absolutely awesome. Now, if you're an RVer or you're like the nomad or you want just to have something small and you don't want to do the work of actually attaching something outside, you can use one of these. Now, this is brand new. This is not something that was around a year ago. Look at the difference. Look how thin that is. Now, you could put this on a J mount. You can actually put this on the same mount as the big one if you wanted to, because it does have a connector for it, but it is also made so that you can put the 4 included suction cups and now suction cup it to your window and call it a damn day. I'm not a fan of that. I mean, it's okay, but I like to direct these. Okay, remember, this is a 4x4. You see your 4 leads. It's not a 2x2, it's a 4x4. So it plugs directly into any of those gateways, right? For example, if you're an RVer, this is absolutely spectacular. Instead of having the big one, you could use one of these. It's a lot more portable, more mobile, and then you can stick it exactly where you want to put it. It also has a desk mount where you clip this to, and now it just sits on your desk like this, and then you could direct it to wherever you want to send it to. Now, how do you know where to direct it to? I use a website that's called cellmap.net. I'll put a link. I'm going to put links to all kinds of stuff down below. So when you're done watching this, go down there and take a look at all these links. There's going to be a lot. Anyways, if you go to that site, you could put in your address and it'll show you where all of the cell towers are near you. So if you're in an RV someplace, you could put your exact geographic location and then it'll show you where all of the cell towers are around you, just like if you were in a home or business. What's nice about this is it will show you what is LTE, what is 5G or 5GE or whatever, so you know which one to actually direct your MIMO antenna towards. Awesome. Now there's one other waveform antenna that I tested out, and that is a log. It's a MIMO antenna, a 4x4 antenna, but it's a log or a periodic antenna. Now the periodic antenna basically is the same type of antenna like this. It has 4 antennas built into it, but each antenna can be directed separately. All right. So instead of just having one of these J-mount or 1 poles, you need 2 poles because each pole can only hold 2 antennas. So you end up with 4 antennas. Now, in most situations, you're going to direct those antennas towards that cell tower. But remember, if you have, let's say, a better tower over here that's picking up 5G and then your LTE is better from this, you can actually spread them out and now pick up any one of the signals from a different antenna simultaneously. So that's what's really nice about a log or a periodic antenna, because it can be directed. You could direct the 4 channels wherever you want it to go. So to look at it is, let's say if you're a photographer, this type of style antenna, which is also a 4x4 MIMO antenna, is flat. So just think about this as maybe a wide angle lens. All right, so it's picking up a wide angle of frequency, RF coming in. So if you have multiple towers in your area, well, one might interrupt the other one, or one might not be the one that you actually want. Whereas with the log, you could point it exactly, because the log antenna or the periodic antenna is more, instead of like a wide angle lens that's picking up a wide swath of RF frequency, it is more of a telephoto lens. So it is picking up a specific location, all right? So it's drowning out any of that RF coming from anywhere else. Sometimes you get a stronger signal with one of these log or periodic antennas because you can direct it. And it basically cancels out, like I said, any of the other interfering noise. So, whereas with this one, you're getting all of it. This is a lot easier to set up. With the log, it takes you some time because you really need to dial it in. You really get the exact location where that cell tower is. So for me, my cell tower is right around 310 degrees, somewhere around there. So let's call it northwest or west-northwest. That's where I point my log antenna, but that's also where I point my larger flat panel MIMO 4x4 antenna. I'm using the flat panel because for me, I like the aesthetic of having only one flat panel outside in comparison to having 4 antennas pointing. That's just me. I'd rather have a little tiny bit slower speed, but have the nicer aesthetic. Once again, if you are an RVer, that little tiny unit is just absolutely perfect. Now, T-Mobile has something similar. And it has little suction cups and you stick it onto the window. But the difference, now I went into the T-Mobile store to check it out. I never buy one. It's like half the price of this, but God, what a piece of junk. Anyways, there is no comparison between this and that. And I took a look at some people that did actually side by sides, and this is actually faster and you're getting a higher gain. nearly, I think about twice or 33%. I don't know, a lot more gain. So what that basically means is you're getting a stronger signal. So what do you need to know about all of this, right? Kind of coming full circle. Number one, figure out exactly which antenna do you want. Do you want the really mobile, portable one? Or do you want the big ass one? This is what I use. Why? Because I'm anal retentive and I want something that's going to do the absolute best that it can, and I don't mind getting up on the roof and strapping this on there. It's not really that heavy, probably about 3 pounds, maybe somewhere on there. So it comes with the connectors, it comes with the pole that attached to the back, and everything that you need to be able to get it up on your wall, exterior to the building, on your eave, let's say, wherever you want to put it. The only thing is whenever you're dealing with putting something outside, that's the larger one, you're going to run this cable outside. So bear in mind, you're going to need to drill a 1-inch hole in the concrete or in your wall to be able to get this cable out there. All right. With this one, the cable is only 10 feet. All right. And once again, you can mount this to the window, outside or inside. You can run it through the wall or not run it through the wall. It's completely up to you. That is the beauty of this tinier one. Now, there is going to be a reduction in speeds. There is going to be a reduction in signal when you use the smaller one over the bigger one, obviously, right? So how much of a reduction is it? Well, with the smaller one, you're getting about 5 dBi gain, all right? Not too bad. Whereas with the big one, you're getting 10 dBi gain. So with a higher gain, in many instances, you end up with faster speeds. You're just getting more a reliable, a stronger signal. So a 10 dBi gain with that external one in comparison to the omnidirectional antenna that comes with the router or with the gateway itself, what is the difference in speeds? I'm glad you asked. Like twice or more than twice. My upload speeds with the original, just the omnidirectional, just using the unit itself by itself was about, let's say 10 to 20 megabits up. And the download speed was right around 70 to 80 megabits down. That's not bad considering my AT&T internet that I originally had, which was DSL, was 15 megabits down and 1.5 megabits up. Don't laugh. I used that for like 20 years. And still today they're offering it, which is disgusting. Anyways, don't even want to get into AT&T. Not a fan. Now, with that addition of this on the outside of the building, instead of getting 20 megabits up, I'm getting right around 40 to 50, 55 megabits up. So more than double the speed. Now the download speed, instead of getting 60 to 80 megabits down, I'm getting about 130 to 150 megabits down. Just short of double the speed. So as you can see, that is a big difference, all right? A big difference. Now, how do we get the better reliability? I'm bonding the two together. So if Starlink goes down, T-Mobile picks up the slack, or vice versa. Now, I'm currently bonding with Speedify, which is a software-based, but a lot of people like using a hardware-based bond. I personally use a PepLink to do that bonding, but it's completely up to you what you use. I personally think that redundancy is second to godliness. I mean, you have to have redundancy or you have nothing. Like I always say, 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you have one internet connection and it goes down, basically you have nothing. So coming full circle, if you want to actually see me do the install, I'll link to that video right here. You can go and watch the whole thing. Today's video is more of an update of the new version that they have, which is this mini, which I think is awesome, especially if you are an RVer or if you want to stick this into your backpack. I mean, look at this. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And the new version, which is that 4x4, the large one that I'm currently using. The difference between the new large version, the MIMO 4x4, and the one that I currently have from a year ago is really just the wires. The signal strength is still 10 dB. Everything is the same. So if you have that one already up on your roof, don't buy the new one. There's no reason to waste your money. Now, conversely, if you want to get something, once again, that's extremely portable, this is definitely the way to go. I mean, don't bother with the T-Mobile version that they have for like $100 or something. It is a cheap piece of junk. this is an actual good antenna, right? It's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to last you a lifetime. Once again, you can put it indoors, or you can stick it to your window, or you can actually stick it outdoors, just like the big one. It's completely up to you. So like I said before, I'm going to put links down below. You can go to jcristina.com/antenna. Once again, jcristina.com/antenna, and you can see all of these. And if you pick something up just by going to that link, you're going to get a discount immediately just for using that link. You can also use promo code JCristina at checkout, and you're going to also get the same discount. So definitely check these antennas out, because even if you are not a Starlink user and you're just using T-Mobile home internet, or using Verizon home internet, or using AT&T's Internet Air or something, these external antennas are going to do you right. You're going to end up getting faster speeds, and they're going to be more reliable speeds. And since you're getting a stronger signal, it's going to bust through some of the trees or foliage or anything that you have out there, especially if you're camping. It's just worth it. Bottom line, it's just simply worth it. So anyways, I hope you found this video maybe helpful, maybe informative. If you did, throw the video a thumbs up. That would be very, very appreciated. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the many years. Check out my merch, check out my tees and my shirts and mugs, and my book over here, How to Create a Digital Fort Knox, Backing Up Your Digital Life. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.